2025 NFL draft is right around the corner, and everybody has their mock drafts and their big boards, but we're going to be extra specific. We're talking the top 25 draft eligible players in the Big 12. And to kick things off, this draft board probably doesn't look like anyone else's because our number one prospect in the Big 12 isn't Travis Hunter. It's not Shedeur Sanders. It is Arizona's Tetairoa McMillan. This dude, a 6'5", 212-pound wide receiver, 84 receptions last year, over 1,300 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. He had an even better year in 2023, 90 catches, 1,400 yards, and 10 touchdowns. This guy is a jump ball wide receiver. He turns 50-50 balls into 80-20 balls. He's got a great release, great hands, and he did it at a program in the University of Arizona that, in all honesty, had a terrible, terrible season last year. So T-Mac, number one, and then right below T-Mac, of course, that's where you're going to find Colorado's Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner. I didn't have him at one because I don't think he's the best wide receiver in this draft, and I certainly don't think he's the best defensive back either. If this was an overall big board, I think Will Johnson is a better defensive back than Travis Hunter. But because we're looking specifically at the Big 12, let's go ahead and take a look at what he did as a receiver this year. 96 catches, 1,258 receiving yards, and 15 touchdowns. Of course, a handful of interceptions as well for the Buffs. There is no question he is a difference maker type of player, and he will be at the next level. Really curious to see if teams pencil him in as a wide receiver or as a defensive back. At 3, of course, you have Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, but I want to get to number 4 on this list. That's, of course, Arizona State running back Cam Skattebo, a guy that a lot of people project as a round 3, maybe round 4 running back. Definitely a top 5 running back in a loaded 2025 class, but you turn on the tape and you see that Cam Skattebo did everything, and I mean everything, for the Arizona State Sundevils this past season. Over 1,700 yards on the ground, 21 touchdowns on the ground as well. Not to mention, he threw a touchdown in a college football playoff game. He had 605 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns as well. Moving further down the list to number 8, I want to get into RJ Harvey because I feel like there hasn't been a ton of talk about this kid since it is such a loaded running back class. 1,577 yards on the ground and 22 rushing touchdowns for a UCF team that played a lot of games this season from behind. This kid, I know he's a little bit undersized at 5'9", 208 pounds, but my goodness, his track record speaks for itself. We brought up the 1,500 rushing yards this past season, 1,400 rushing yards in 2023 as well for 16 touchdowns. Moving along the list, let's go ahead and get to number 16 on this big board. That is TCU wide receiver Savion Williams. 6'5", 225 pounds. So he is bigger than U of A's T-Mac. Only 60 catches for 611 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns through the air for Savion Williams. Really curious to see where his draft stock is in terms of the 2025 NFL draft. There isn't a ton of depth in this wide receiver class. I think when we are talking the upper echelon of wide receivers in the 2025 NFL draft, you are certainly going to leave Savion Williams' name out of that conversation. But this could be a guy that you see get drafted maybe round 4, round 5, that has an impact for a team in year 1 just because he is such a big body wide receiver. Continuing to move down this Big 12 big board, you've got guys like a Taj Brooks at 13, Jalen Noel at 14, DJ Giddens at 15, Mello Dotson at 17, defensive back for the Kansas Jayhawks. You get your first tight end at number 19, and Jalen Conyers is obviously a guy that played at Arizona State, originally was an Oklahoma Sooner, and then finished up his college career as a Texas Tech Red Raider. This kid can run the Wildcat. He can line up outside the numbers. He could be a wide receiver. He can be a tight end. He can run the football. Jalen Conyers, kind of a Swiss Army knife type of tight end. I would say the one thing that NFL teams probably want to see from him is improved run blocking. But kind of moving all the way down this list at number 22, going to wrap up with Kobe Bryant, defensive back at Kansas. This kid had 10 interceptions through 3 years of college football for the Kansas Jayhawks. Going into this past season, he was widely considered one of the best corners in college football, but a down year for Kobe simply because it was a down year for Kansas. That defense got torched. That offense wasn't able to hang around in a number of games. And Kobe Bryant's draft stock definitely was hurt because of it. I do think wherever he lands, whether that be somewhere between round 3 and round 5, a team is going to get a steal out of Kobe Bryant. We'll go ahead and throw that board up there one final time for everybody to see. Guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what is the biggest surprise and who has the potential to be the biggest difference maker on this list outside of those first round guys.